Denmark takes note of official statements from the United States government stating that the military operations are to combat drug trafficking and stem the illicit flow of illegal narcotics. Denmark shares the priority of combating organized crime and drug trafficking, while reiterating that counter-narcotic efforts, as all other efforts, must be conducted in strict accordance with international law, including the fundamental rules and principles of the UN Charter. Mr. President, against this backdrop, Denmark wishes to recall our solidarity with the people of Venezuela. Denmark does not recognize Nicolas Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela following the lack of transparency and integrity in the 2024 presidential elections, which failed to meet basic democratic standards. In Maduro's attempts to cling to power, his authoritarian regime grew increasingly oppressive. His regime bears responsibility for widespread and systematic violations of human rights against his fellow citizens, and he should be held accountable. The victims of the Maduro regime's alleged crimes against humanity have to be heard. The Venezuelan people have a right to democracy and self-determination exercised through peaceful, inclusive, and credible democratic processes, free from fear of political persecution, intimidation, or repression, and external political interference. This includes the rights of Venezuelans alone to determine their political, economic, and social future without coercion, pressure, or manipulation by external actors. No state should seek to influence political outcomes in Venezuela through the use of threat of force or through other means inconsistent with international law. Venezuela's future can be decided only by the Venezuelans.
This Council now meets at a pivotal moment for Venezuela's future. Maduro's actions created extreme levels of poverty, violent repression, and failing basic services. His regime's rule precipitated a displacement crisis affecting the whole region. The United Kingdom has long been clear that Maduro's claim to power was fraudulent. To date, Venezuela's National Electoral Council has failed to publish the full results of the July 2024 presidential elections, and independent domestic and international reports also observed significant irregularities and a lack of transparency. President, the United Kingdom wants to see a safe and peaceful transition to a legitimate government that reflects the will of the Venezuelan people.
Mr. President, France has remained in solidarity with the Venezuelan people during the crisis they have been going through for far too many years, and particularly since the summer of 2024. On July 28, 2024, the Venezuelan people peacefully exercised their right to vote to determine the future of their country. Their right to choose its leaders was nonetheless confiscated by Nicolas Maduro. It should be noted that the electoral process was marked by numerous irregularities and the final vote count by a blatant lack of transparency. In response to the democratic aspirations of the Venezuelan people, Nicolas Maduro has systematically answered with the repression of dissenting voices, members of the opposition, and of civil society, as well as through multiple arbitrary detentions. France has always spoken clearly about the fact that these practices are unacceptable and that respect for human rights must be guaranteed. Mr. President, the military operation that led to the capture of Nicolas Maduro contravenes the principle of peaceful settlement of disputes and the principle of non-use of force. The growing number of violations of the United Nations Charter and international law by states entrusted with the responsibility of permanent members of this council undermine the foundations of the international order.